Welcome back to our today's session. Today we are going to discuss problem count the number of island in a 2D binary grid or 2D array matrix. So here the problem statement is something like this. Given an m cross n 2D binary grid which represent a map of 1 and 0. 1 means land and 0 means water. So return the number of island. So how we are going to know that this is Iceland? So Iceland means it's surrounded by water and is found by connecting adjacent lands horizontally or vertically. So basically this is the land. 1 means land and 0 means water. So if we are going to look this picture or 2D matrix, 2D grid, so first of all this is the 1, that means this is the land. Okay, and this is also connected by horizontally and vertically as well. So this is the land. Okay, so let me, this is also the land, this is the land, this is the land. So we need to find the all the number of land Iceland. So I am going to make this rounded here, so that would be the visible. So we found the 1 Iceland. Okay, we found the 1 Iceland. So you can say that this is the 1 and this is the 1 can also become the Iceland. No, because this is already part of this bigger Iceland. Okay, so if we go this 0, this is the not part of this Iceland because this is the 0, this is the water. Let me change this color of. Okay, so basically 0 is not part of the Iceland. This 0 is also not part of this Iceland. This 0 is also not part of Iceland. This again, this is the water, this is the water. So you can see the problem here. 1 means land and 0 means water. So this is also the water, this is also the water, this is also the water, and we again found the 1 land here. Okay, so let's count this land. So this is the land. I'm going to make a circle here. Okay, so count of Iceland now become a 2. Earlier is 1 and this is the 2, and again we are finding the water. So we are going to mark this cross. This is the water, this is the water, this is the water. So what we are trying, we are just visiting the element of this grid. This is the water, and again encounter the land. So let me make this land again. Okay, so this is the land. So I am going to this circle. We found the first land and this is also connected to another land. So let this make a bigger Iceland. So this is now 3. So total number of Iceland here we have 3. How we are counting? So we only can counting land horizontally or vertically, either this way or this way. So we can only go top to bottom or left to right. We cannot go to the diagonal. So if you want to say that this the bigger grid we have, this bigger Iceland and this Iceland can be also connected, no, because we cannot make a diagonal. We only can make a horizontal or vertical. So hope you are able to understand this problem. So basically what we did that we just traversing this grid. Grid means 2D matrix we have here. So we are traversing the grid, loop through each cell in the grid and detect the Iceland. How we are detecting Iceland? Because we know that 1 means Iceland, 1 means Iceland and 0 means water. 0 means water. So a cell with 1 is found, it signifies the start of an Iceland because this is going to start Iceland. And mark the Iceland using the DFS. So we are going to solve this problem using the depth first search. So DFS, what they are going to mark all the connected lands means, connected land means this is the 1 connected, 1 connected, 1 connected, 1 connected. So we are going to mark this connected ones or zeros if 1 then land and 0 as a water. So if coming the water, then avoid counting the same. Okay, so let me try to implement this problem in a JavaScript. Okay, so I'm going to write a function. Firstly, function number of Iceland. Okay, number of Icelands. So this will take a grid as an input. Okay, so let me try to make a here grid input what we have written here. So I'm going to write a grid here, const grid equal to, so this is the 2D matrix. So I'm going to make a this 2D matrix. So we have 1 1, then 1, then we have 0, then we have 0, and then again we have 0. So 1 1 0 0. So let me copy this and paste it multiple times. So this is the 2D matrix. So let me m cross n. So I'm going to paste 4 times. So let me make this 1 1 and under this 0. So 0 0 0, and this is the 1, and this is last to the 1 and 1. Okay, so this is our grid which I am going to pass an argument. So let me call this function console.log and number of Iceland, which is taking a grid as an input. Okay, so this grid I am passing here. So let's write a function here. So basically what I am going to do here, I am going to traverse this grid. Okay, so here should be the basic condition. If grid is not a grid, means empty, or grid length is 0, then they are going to return grid length equal to 0, then just simply return from here, return 0. Okay, so let's initialize here a variable to count the number of Iceland. Number is Iceland equal to 0. So I am going to write a problem using the DFS. So DFS means depth first search. So what they are going to do here for a DFS, so let me write down this function, then hope you are able to understand. DFS equal to, so this will take a grid, what we have the 2D matrix, and I and J, means M cross N or I cross J matrix they are going to traverse. Okay, so basically let me mark this all the matrix. Firstly, this is, so if I mark grid of I comma j, so basically mark all the cell initially visited by setting it to the 0. So I'm assuming that what we have this cell, all this filled by the water. Okay, or we can say that just visited. Okay, so I'm going to fill a 0 here, grid I of j. So how we are going to visit this? We are going to visit via, so we can visit adjacent all the cells. So how we are going to, from left to right or top to bottom. So let's try to how we are going to visit this. DFS function going to call grid I plus 1 means and j. So how they are going to call this function, let me try to write down here these functions. If, let me try the basic conditions here. If I less than 0, or I is greater or equal to grid length. So basically whatever we have 0 1 2 3 4, this should be not greater than this grid length, and or j is less than 0 or j is greater or equal to grid length. So basically what we have, indexes should be inside the grid. If this condition satisfy, so basically if out of bounds or what at the water cell, return, simply return it. Or we can apply the conditions grid of I comma j, grid I comma j equal to 0. So first conditions we have here, so simply just return it here from return here. So first condition, if out of bounds means at a water cell, if the water cell, then just return it, because we don't need to count the water cell. I less than 0 equal or I greater or equal to grid length. Okay, and for the same j less than 0 and j greater or equal to grid length, and sorry, or grid I of j is equal to 0. Even j's grid length, how we are going to get, because this will grid, if we try to grid of j means jth index, so j should be here 0 dot length, grid 0 of length, means here you can see we have firstly outer array, then we have the inner array. You can see the multiple arrays we have. Like, so if we want to get this index, how we are going to get this index? This is of array, outer array, so this is the array of zeros, this is the zeros, this is the 1, this is the 2, and this is the 3. So basically array of 0, so grid 0, array of 1 length, array of 2 length, array of 3 length. So how they are going to get this, all this length? Okay, so here how they are going to budget. So let me try it out. This is for up, down and left, right. So I1 plus j, let me write down the 4 times, because left, right, top, bottom. So I plus 1, then I minus 1, and here for this is the I, and j plus 1 and j minus 1, and this should be I. So basically they are going to cover up, down, left, right. Okay, perfect. Now this is the conditions which we are just to traverse this 2D grid. Okay, so let me write down to recognize how we are going to recognize this. Somehow need to be recognized this. Okay, so this is the DFS they are going to traverse, and here we are going to recognize the Iceland. So let I equal to 0 and I less than grid dot length I plus plus, and for the inner loop, because this is the 2D matrix, so we need a 2 adjacent loop, and j less than grid dot length and j plus plus. So here how we are going to check this? So just like first element we are checking that this is the 1 or 0. So if grid of I of j means grid 0 0 equal to this is the 1, then mark is as a Iceland, equal to 1, then nums of Iceland plus equal to 1. So this is going to increment, and call this DFS function with updated grid I comma j. So basically they are going to be the updated value of I and j, and just return from here, return number of Iceland, or just this variable. So let me try to run this, or let me just explain this problem again. So we have here basically grid m cross n size, which currently including 1 and 0 in their matrices of each index. So 1 means we have land and 0 means we have water. So here what we are trying to do with the DFS function, if you recognize here, so DFS function the marks the current cell as a visited. So basically we want to mark as a visiting. So basically how we are going to recognize is because we are visiting 1, this is land, we are visiting the 1 land, and we get a 0, this is the water. So first of all we need to be like maintain the visiting by changing its value to 0 and recursively call itself. So basically this is calling for top to bottom and left to right in 4 directions. So main loop here, if you see here, so outer loop basically traverses this to the each cell in the grid. If a cell with 1 is found, it starts the DFS mark the entire Iceland. So basically if we are getting the 1 here, then we are calling this DFS function to get an entire Iceland's count should be incremented here. Okay, and edge case already we have handled here. This one edge case, the function handle case where the grid is empty or contains only the water cell. Okay, this is the empty cell for, and this is for handling only the water cell. So let me try to run this problem and see the output of this. Okay, if all is good. So basically here you see we are getting the 3 here. So already the same output what we have written here, same output grid we have taken, and already we found the number of output here 3. So if you make some changes here, so let's try to do here. So let's say we want to make another output. So another output means here, so let me write down here number of Iceland. Here we have, okay, so basically we are getting the output here. If you see here, number of Iceland is 3 here. Let me, you see here we are getting the output, number of Iceland is 3. So let's make another example, okay, because this is the straightforward. This is the 1 island, this is the second, and this is the third. Let's make a more Iceland here. So I'm going to add here some value. So let me add some value. Okay, so let's cut this one. Let's make a bigger, thicker here. Okay, so I'm going to make this 1. Okay, so rather than this 0, I'm going to make 1, and also I'm going to add this 0 as well to make a 1. So if we are going to count this problem, how many? So here we just make a in a second row this 1 and this 1. Okay, so if you are going to count number of Iceland here, so we have 3 which is not affected. So we also got encounter here 1. So if we are going to get this again, so just you are trying to visiting again all this and you encounter here 1. So you are marking the, rather than 3, this is the 4. Okay, this is the 4, and you again encounter 1. So this become a 4 to 5. So total number of Iceland is become a 5. Okay, so I'm going to just round this. So already we have 3. So we got a 4 or 5, but this is already adjacent and this bigger land is already include 1s. So this should be not a 5, this should be only 4. So is output of this problem should be 4. So because this Iceland first one, second one, third one, and fourth one. So let's see the output. The output should be 4 here for this input. Let's see the output. You see we are getting a 4. So this is the problem. Basically find the number of Iceland in a given grid or 2D array matrix. This question is asked in a very prestigious and popular companies for software developer profile. So even they ask sometime Google, even they ask some Amazon, Uber, Atlassian as well. So basically the problem is include all the concept and your knowledge. Even they are checking for traversing the matrices, using of the graph and the DP as well. How you are iterating the 2D matrix and printing that, and how you are handling the edge cases. So by asking such a problem by an interviewer, they are going to grab your all understanding regarding the problem solving of the DSA. So basically, hope you are able to understand this problem. And first time might be the you get a tougher, but it's not. If you try the multiple time and you to think that, then you can solve this problem very easily. Okay, so this is the DFS problem. We have just applied the DFS here, and here we just calling the conditions by traversing the grid. Okay, so let's discuss a complexity as well. So complexity, if I'll say making the time complexity here, so we have just used this 2D 2 loop inside 2 loop. Okay, so this calling the grid of length and grid length both loop. So if we call this like they are calling m time and this call the n time, so basically this making a order of m into n. So complexity wise, if I'll say, so time complexity, they are taking order of m into n, order of m into n, because two loop we have each inside each other. Okay, and this loop we have outer, so this doesn't make an innovation. So where m and n is the like number of rows here, what you are able to see here in problem, this is for rows. We have zeros, 1, 2, 3. So this is the 4 by 4 matrix you have. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Not a 4. We have 4 and 5. 4 cross 5 matrix we have. Okay. So m basically for a row. So if I'll say m for row and n for column. Okay. So here in our problem we have a 4 row. We have 4 row and 5 columns. So our matrices would become, this become order of 4 into 5. So 4 into 5 grid. So that's it for today, and hope you like this video. So please share your thought as well, how we can solve this other approach as well. This the question is very important in terms of interview. If you are going to crack good product based company, then definitely they are going to ask such problem in your problem solving round to check your data structures and how you are going to apply those data structures concept in these problems. Okay, so thank you everyone for watching this video, and we will see you in the next video. Thank you for